Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Bold and beautiful weekly spoilers April 7 to 11. Deacon assaults Carter and Brooke's desperation grows. Bold and the beautiful spoilers for next week showed Deacon Sharp, seen Kanan, getting violent in defense of his daughter Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, getting desperate, and Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, calling her out for some skanky antics. Plus, there is a life that's on the line. B&B held their spoilers late this week, which is something they tend to do when there's big cliffhanger Friday action. But we've still got some good stuff to talk about. So, as this past week ended, we all saw Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline Metzinswood, find Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, unconscious on Bill Spencer, Don Diamond's front stoop, bleeding from his head. Of course, Steffy was horrified, and she called an ambulance. Liam was rushed into the ER, and Dr. Grace Buckingham said that Liam has a brain bleed, an intracranial hemorrhage, and his brain may be dying for lack of oxygen. So this is really bad. Steffy was absolutely beside herself and screaming when Liam flatlined on Friday. They definitely wanted us to be worried he was going to die in the cliffhanger episode. No doubt he is going to need brain surgery to stop the bleeding. The good news is we know Liam survives because we have got a behind-the-scenes picture from an upcoming episode where Liam is with Bill at Il Giardino. They are lunching and Liam has got some sort of wrap or linen-looking kind of beanie thing covering his head. Now, I don't know if that's part of his costume or if they're covering up a bandage, and they didn't want it seen in the behind-the-scenes photo. In the photo, we saw Heather Tom working with the actors because she was directing that episode, and they taped it the same day they did the episode that aired March 26, the one with Brooke and Hope raging at each other. So, look for Liam to get his surgery, get out of the hospital, and sit down for a pleasant lunch with his dad, Bill Spencer, in the next week or so. Showrunner Brad Bell has promised that this front-burner storyline they've written for Liam is something we've never seen before. And by the way, both Scott Clifton and Don Diamond have just signed new contracts with Bold and the Beautiful, so neither of them is going anywhere. Alright, let's talk about Deacon getting violent in defense of his daughter Hope's honor. So next week we have Deacon confronting Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, at Forrester Creations. Now, this past week that just ended, Deacon promised Hope that he would take care of everything. He is stepping up, he's being Big Daddy. So when he shows up over at Forrester Creations, Carter tells Deacon he thought Hope would understand what he did, but no, her dad claps back, and Deacon asks how many times does Hope have to have her heart broken because that's what he sees. And then he goes full Karate Kid on the COO, gives Carter this kick in the leg, and then he's punching him. And as Deacon's assaulting him, Carter goes all in, he lunges at Deacon and throws a punch back. We're going to see Smell Good girl Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, rushing in to break up the fight. It looks like a crazy good scene actually. I'm pretty excited to see it. And then after Deacon leaves, obviously, Daphne is going to comfort Carter. It's about time we start seeing more sparks with them. And this whole showdown probably reinforces the fact it's a good thing he and Hope are done. And Deacon recently offered one of the little apartments above Il Giardino to Hope even though she's not crazy about being around Sheila Carter. And next week Hope may take Deacon up on that offer and leave her tiny cabin at Brooke's estate. Deacon and Hope, we know already have a lot more scenes together coming soon. Both the actors confirmed they have filmed a ton of episodes together. And you know, I think Brooke is not going to be able to get Ridge Forrester, Thorsten Kaye, to give Hope her job back. I just don't see Ridge backing down, and Hope is probably going to blame her mom. Especially because Brooke actually seems more focused on getting Ridge back in her life than getting Hope her job back. And I'm also interested to see if Hope's going to be grateful or horrified to find out her daddy, Deacon, went full kung fu father on betraying Carter. I do think Hope may be impressed that her dad's willing to go to war for her, and hopefully Carter won't try and press charges for that in-off assault that he's subjected to. And hey, if you've not seen Kanan reprise his role from Karate Kid 3 in the series on Netflix, Cobra Kai, he's awesome, and he knows all those moves. He actually is a Carter kicks back, and it definitely looks like that song. You know, everybody's kung fu fighting. And by the way, those moves are all legit because Lawrence St. Victor also has a background in martial arts training, so these guys are going to do their thing. This past week, even though Brooke got rejected this week, and then last week, she tried again and Ridge turned her down again. So the question is, does Brooke respect Ridge's choice to be with Taylor, and is she going to leave it alone and just stick to being professional at work? No, she's not going to do that at all. So the week of April 7th, Brooke carries on with the conversation that started on this Friday's episode, where she, of course, is blaming the coup for their split, trying to appeal to Ridge to rehire Hope. Brooke Logan thinks it's unfair her daughter's the only one who got punished, and in that Friday conversation, Brooke tried to blame Steffi for all this, but Ridge isn't having it. And if she brings it up on Monday, he's not going to have it again. He again rejects Brooke, who is asking him to admit he wants to be with her and pursue their destiny, all that bridge. Ridge says no again, and then Brooke is going to double down because we're going to see Taylor next week walk into the CEO office looking for Ridge, and she gets an eyeful with something else instead. Brooke pops out from behind a changing screen in just a little purple bra and panties, and she's panting because she thinks it's Ridge that came in the room, and she's saying, "Oh Ridge, is that you divine?" And then she sees Taylor and screams. So there's no mistaking that Brooke is actively throwing herself at Ridge, despite him telling her on repeat, that's not what he wants. And she's getting down to the skivvies, unsure with the excuse of these are some of Brooke's bedroom designs, but Taylor is not going to be happy to see her in bra and panties looking for Ridge. She may drop a karate kick on Brooke like Deacon does on Carter. This whole thing could get slapstick. Plus, we have lunatic Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, complaining to her grandma Sheila next week that Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, is wasting his time with Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, whom she calls Prissy. Meanwhile, Will and Electra get frisky making out at Forrester Creations, but Will does seem a little impatient about intimacy, even though he's told Electra he can wait, but he may be tempted by Luna because he was having a little daydream about that offer. Also next week, watch as word spreads about Liam's medical crisis. Steffi has to follow up on this text from Finn, Tanner Novlin, who's wondering why she and Liam haven't shown up for the plans they made with Kelly Spencer, Sophia Paris McKinley, and given how nasty Bill was to Liam, he should be horrified that his son collapsed and rushes to make amends.